Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Going to read through the full article here. I think there's a link in the description if you'd rather go through that yourself. This article is in regards to the murder of a 67-year-old man, Ramon Luna, and this happened in September 2020. But the reason why we're talking about this is because the man that's been charged with murder, he's been charged, he's been let free. He's been let free back on New York City streets without bail. So, that's why we're looking at this article. Really, it begs the question, is that very smart? Eric Adams, that's your name, isn't it? Can't remember what your position is. The city mayor, Eric Adams. Is that a smart thing to do, Eric? Do your police work, do your investigations, identify your suspects of murders, charge them, and then release them. Is that smart? I'm thinking that perhaps it isn't. Perhaps the weakness to that plan is the releasing them part. Perhaps you shouldn't be doing that. But anyway, what do I know? I don't know much. But we're going to have a look through the article here in more depth. I'll read through pretty much all of the article, I think. A suspected murderer who is accused of beating a 67-year-old man to death in East Harlem is back on New York City's streets after being released without bail. Eugene Clark, this scumbag, let's go with scumbag, 54 years of age, allegedly brutally assaulted Ramon Luna, 67 years of age, in September 2020, causing the man to fall into a coma and later die from his injuries. The career criminal, I've said that slowly, in staccato, for a good reason, because I think it needs to be emphasized. The career criminal. It's just like, I'm shaking my head. It's just like a broken record, isn't it? These crimes, these serious violent crimes, more often than not always, but see, a lot of the time, it's at the hands of a fucking career criminal. The career criminal, whose rap sheet dates back to 1983, was released without bail on Thursday by the judge April Neubauer, despite his history of assault, robbery, and criminal sales of controlled substances, which I guess means he's a drug dealer. Eugene Clark had been released on parole less than a month prior to the September 2020 attack, after spending 6 months in jail for a robbery charge. So he was already released on parole. I've never been released on parole. But if I were to be released on parole, I think my plan would be to not do crime for a little bit. But this guy didn't really have that plan. He decided that it would be appropriate to attack somebody, which led to their death. During the attack, Eugene Clark, this scumbag, had rooted through the victim's pockets after knocking him out and stealing his belongings. The scumbag did not work alone, as another suspect, whose name is quite ridiculous, Unique Powers. That's an actual name, Unique Powers. Allegedly poured an unknown substance onto the victim's unconscious body before also rifling through his pants pockets. Unique Powers has been charged with assault and grand larceny. A third suspect was also involved, but was not named by authorities. This is where it happened. This corner here. 125th Street and Lexington Avenue. I've heard of Lexington Avenue. That's a famous street, isn't it? The victim was taken to Harlem Hospital after the attack, and doctors discovered he had suffered from multiple brain bleeds. He later died from his injuries in August 2021. So a little shy of a year after the incident. The scumbag was apprehended 9 days after the attack and identified himself in surveillance footage and admitted to shoving the victim to the ground. He was originally charged with grand larceny and released on bail. Why? Why would you release him on bail? He admitted to having attacked the victim, and the victim was hospitalized and subsequently died. Why would you release him on bail? I mean, maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. Bail is a thing in America as well as other countries. Back to the article. The case was revisited after the victim's death by the Manhattan District's Attorney's Office in August, and the scumbag was charged with second-degree murder on February the 2nd of this year, I believe, by a grand jury in Manhattan's Supreme Court. At his arraignment hearing on Thursday, just gone, prosecutors requested that the scumbag, career criminal, be reprimanded without bail. And Neubauer, who's the judge, agreed. Be reprimanded without bail. Okay, so here's a quote. Never in all my years have I heard of something like this before. The scumbag implicated himself in the victim's death, and now he's free? ? Even the district attorney asked for remand. Okay. New Yorkers on social media also criticized the decision, with many calling it crazy and more calling out New York City Mayor Eric Adams and Governor Kathy Hochul. Eric Adams and the DA office have received increasing backlash from the soft bail laws since taking office in January the 1st. The article goes in more detail about some of the social media comments criticizing the release of this guy who admits guilt of attacking this man, this victim, who subsequently died nearly a year after the attack, Ramon Luna being the victim. So there are a few quotes from social media. The article goes on to tell us about further decline in regards to crime. Within New York City. And I'm going to make another video about that in a few minutes. So, perhaps check that out if you're interested. But I've got to shake my head at Mayor Eric Adams at this point. I've made a few videos where he's been mentioned. And in those videos, I think I've been pretty generous towards him. I think I've said that he's new to the role and he deserves a little bit of time. These issues can't be resolved in a day or in a week. They do take some time. But at this point, I have to criticize him at this point, not just because of the, more time has passed, but just seemingly because he's allowing for these soft bail procedures to take place. I would imagine that the Mayor Eric Adams is in the position to say, oh, fuck that. If someone's charged with murder, let's keep them locked up. Let's do that. Let's have extremely high bail. The mayor would have that ability to state that. And he's not. So he deserves the criticism that he's facing. And here's a couple of comments online. One Twitterer said, I don't understand. If he was out on parole, why wasn't it revoked after being arrested for the assault and robbery? No bail needed. Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent point. I mean, that's an absolute point, isn't it? He was out on parole. He broke his parole by being involved in crime. So thereby, he gets locked up. I mean, it's just not complicated, is it? I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'm guessing this commentator isn't a lawyer too. But, that's what we do know as members of society. We have this understanding that if you're out on parole and you do the wrong thing, you commit a crime, especially if it's a violent crime, you're going to go back in jail. You would have, whatever the right term is, revoked your parole, you've broken your parole, whatever the correct term is. but you fucked up and you go back to jail. No $50 free pass, I'm afraid. How are people getting out with bail? What the fuck is going on? Another person wrote, what the fuck is happening? Ankle bracelets for murderers, parole for serial killers? Question mark. Yeah, I mean, there's the other incident. Am I right? I can't quite remember. I think in New York. I may have the location wrong, but I think it was New York. The trans serial killer. So, you know, there's that situation. The serial killer that killed a lady who was in her 60s. Her name was Susan. Okay. Harvey Marcelin. Hang on, what's going on there? Harvey Marcelin, the trans person who has committed 3 murders. And yeah, that's in New York City. So he'd committed, I did make a video on this a couple of days ago, but my memory fails me. This gorgeous woman here, I shouldn't be facetious. This woman, trans person, whatever, she'd already killed 2 people, and she goes ahead and kills another. Susan. And, so I don't know. I just feel that if you've been found guilty of killing someone, murdering someone, and then you serve 20 years in jail, and then you're released, and you kill someone again, and you're convicted for that, don't get released again. That would be my thought. Apparently I'm not smart enough to be the New York City mayor, but that is the action I would take, Eric. Eric, here's my advice to you. If you have any serial killers that continue to kill people and they serve the full jail sentence, just keep them in jail. Just carry on keeping them in jail. Impose longer sentences, impose harsher sentences. Otherwise, you might have trans people walking around town, killing innocent people, and then dismembering them, and going into shopping supermarkets with parts of their dead body. That Harvey Marcelin guy, I've not read into this bit, but I saw a headline. He went into a Dollar General store, with the woman's leg. I think he was in a wheelchair. The murderer was in a wheelchair, if I understand, and he had the leg in the wheelchair with him, something like that. But I've gone on a ramble there. Thank you for listening, even if you left earlier. Thank you for listening. If you do like this video, this content, do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you feel a little bit down from this type of subject, if you're looking for something to take your mind away from these dark topics, then do check out perhaps my political channel, which is called CIS Male, or indeed one of the friends of the channel At the End of the Day, Bella. She does nice, pleasant live streams talking about general current affairs. But whatever you do, don't allow yourself to get too down by these types of subjects. Again, thank you for listening.